Hi, and welcome to video number 3. We're going to talk about how to write an ebook that sells. Now, before I actually dive into showing you step by step how to create a ebook that sells, first of all, I want to address two things. Keep in mind that the value you create, the content value that you provide and you create, equals the value that you get in money. So don't come at the angle that, okay, all I have to do is create an ebook and slap a bunch of stuff together and sell it. That's not how it works. You have to do planning. You have to kind of observe your competition. And it really doesn't take that much time to do that. But if you do the proper planning, you do the proper research, you should have no problem creating a good ebook after you watch this particular video. Second of all, you want to address the problems and concerns of a target market. So you might want to list out, what are problems that this specific market faces? What are the concerns that they face? What keeps them up at night? If you know these things, then you can really address these things in the beginning of your ebook or your excerpt and things like that, so you can grab and pull them in. And once you have done that, then you can provide the solution, then you can relate to them, things like that. So writing an ebook, it really depends on what it is. If what I'm talking about now is really nonfiction type stuff, like how to do this or how to do that, training type stuff. But if you're writing a nonfiction novel, then that's a whole different world. But what I'm about to show you is a way to pretty much figure out, how to write a good ebook, whether it's nonfiction, whether it's fiction, whatever it might be. So there are two ways of writing an ebook. You can either hire somebody to write an ebook, proofread it, change it around a little bit, or you can write your own book. Now, before you actually write your book, you need to do a little bit of planning. You need to ask yourself, is this book a fiction novel, or is it going to be a nonfiction novel or a nonfiction book? Because there are many different types of books. And if you want to get an idea of the different types of books, you could always go to Amazon. I know I keep telling you to go back to Amazon, but guess what? You already have all the resources that you need. So you can go to books, textbooks, look around, get an idea of your passions, get an idea of, you've already brainstormed, you've already figured out what you wanted to write about, but it's time to write about it. So, like I recommended earlier, go to similar books. Figure out the table of contents of those books, which generally, if you don't want to guess, you can, online dating for dummies, then you find a dummies book. The dummies book has a table of contents on it. So use that same method to figure out a table of contents. Now, don't plagiarize. I repeat, do not plagiarize and do not copy word for word. This is simply to get an idea of what you can do. Now, once you know what to do, then, you got the table of contents, then you can give it to the writer. In order for the writer to write a good book, they need to have a table of contents. If you just go ahead and tell them, hey, write a book on online dating, you're not going to get a book that is really good quality, because they are interpreting, the novel or the book in their own way. So if you want it done well, make sure you do the table of contents first and then give them the table of contents. That's how you do, you create a good ebook. If you want to hire somebody, you can always go to several places. Now, Warrior Forum is a good place. If you go here and you look for warriors to hire, you can find a lot of good content writers. Most of these people are article writers. However, you can still find people that are ebook writers, and I went through this the other day, and you can find people that will write your ebook for anywhere from $97 to $127. Now, that's pretty cheap considering the fact that they're writing an ebook that will make you money on autopilot for a long time. Now, if you don't want to invest the money, then you can always write it yourself. Another good site is guru.com. I've had a lot of great experience with guru.com. I would not recommend sites like Odesk Scriptlance, Rent-A-Coder, and sites like that. You may be able to find good writers there, but for the most part, I have had more success with Guru.com and WarriorsForum.com. Now, it's not to say never ever use Odesk.com or never ever use Rentacoder.com. For the most part, I found that you can find better writers on Guru.com. And I found people to write articles, press releases, and things like that from Guru.com. So Guru.com, Elance.com is probably a good one too. I've not personally used Elance, but I've heard a lot of good things about the site. It's a big site. So you can use those two sites or any other sites to have your ebook written. But what I recommend you do though is once you give the table of contents, ask them to write the first part first, or the first few pages first, and then look over them and just make sure that the ebook is headed the right direction. The worst thing you can do is give the table of contents to the writer and have them write the whole book and realize that's not exactly what you want. So make sure that you go step by step. Plan the process out, plan your ebook out first, and then tackle that. Now, if you're going to write a fiction novel, it might be a little harder to, outsource that specific task. But as you can see, creating ebooks are indeed actually very, very easy thing to do. Now, you might be asking, well, what about private label rights articles? Private label rights articles, yes and no. You can't just take a bunch of private label articles and plop them together and then that be your ebook. You just don't want to do that, especially if you're going to put your name on it. If you do that route, make sure that somebody goes through and rewrites all of them, either in your own words or have them rewrite everything. If you do that, rewrite it, plus add or remove onto it. If you remove some stuff and then you add some stuff, then you will make it a better ebook. Now, you're thinking, oh, wow, this is pretty simple. Creating ebooks is a very simple thing to do depending on what it is. If it's a novel, you might have to take a week or a few weeks. If it's a how-to product, which most products out there are informational how-to, then it's a lot easier. Hello and welcome to video number 4, which is all about formatting your ebook. Before we actually dive into the first 2 steps, I want to talk about a quick overview. So step 1, we're going to check the ebook to make sure everything is okay. Step 2, we're going to convert the Word document to HTML. And what we're going to be doing is we're going to be using a free software tool called Mobi Creator Publisher version. It's free. You don't have to invest any money. And then, of course, step 3 is we're going to be formatting the book one step further. So with that said, let's go ahead and get started. Alright, so step 1, we need to look through the ebook just to make sure everything is correct. So just want to make sure everything looks good. So I'm going to make sure there's no humongous white space breaks or anything like that. So it'd be wise to go through and double check everything. And then once you're done, what I'm going to do, right now it's in docx format. I want to save it in just plain DOC format. So I'm going to pick on this format here, click on save, and then I'm going to close this out. So this is the file that I want to convert. Now what I need to do now is go to mobipocket.com. So if you go to mobipocket.com, you click on software at the top here, you scroll down, you will notice on the right hand side that you can create ebooks with this tool. Now there are 2 versions. There's a home version and there's a publisher version. Publisher version allows you to protect the distribution of copyrighted content. So if you wrote your ebook, you definitely want to protect it, right? So in this case, you want to download the publisher version. So I clicked on that, and you notice the publisher version when it says protect the distribution of copyrighted content. So I'm going to go ahead and download this file. Click download. And it's a 10 megabyte file, so I'm just going to go ahead and pause this and resume it after I have installed this software program. And before I install it, I want to make sure that you understand that when you download the Mobi Pocket Creator, when you install it, you will have two choices: the Home Edition or the Publisher version. Publisher Edition is for advanced users, but that's what you need to pick. So click on Next and click on Next and install it. Okay, so I successfully installed the Mobi Pocket Creator, and what I want to do is, it says import from existing file. Now I have an MS Word document, so I want to browse to find that file. So I'm going to go here, click on browse, find the file, and then it says create publication in this folder. So I essentially just want it to be in the same folder. And language is going to be English, and encoding is going to be by default Western. So I'm going to click on import, and within a few seconds it should save it to the HTML file. Alright, so we see here that we have the HTML file. You know, if you have an image, you can add an image and the table of contents here as well. Book settings and other things like that. So, but since I'm just going to keep it simple for now, so I'm going to leave it like this. If you want to take a look at the HTML file to see what it looks like, it'll be located in here. So we'll open this up in Google Chrome, and we can see it here. So the next step in this process is to go to Google and download a program called Composer. Just as you can see here, and we'll click on download. So I want you to download this here, install it, and then open up Composer, which is going to look like this. So you can open this program up, and then click on open, find the HTML file that has generated by the Mobi Creator. Once that's done, then what we can do is start formatting the document. So now we need to finalize the formatting of the ebook. Now keep in mind that font sizes can be achieved using headline tags or heading tags. So I'm going to show you that in just a minute. So if you want to, make your headings bigger, then you can use H1, H2, H3 tags. And now keep in mind that Amazon Kindle, if you have page breaks in your book and you don't tell Amazon Kindle where the page breaks are, they're just going to break it wherever they feel like it's going to break. So it's pretty much automatic. So you want to tell Amazon Kindle where to break the tags or where the page breaks are going to be. So this is the tag that you would use in front of the wherever you want the page break to be. Table of contents. To tell Amazon Kindle where your table of contents is, you want to have the specific tag in front of it. Now, if you have images within your ebook, which is optional, you don't have to have images. If you do have images, then you're going to need to use a program called Mobi Pocket Creator, and I'm going to show you all this in just a minute. Okay, so now my job now is to clean it up as we looked at in step 3. So step 3, we need to go through and every headline make it into an H1 tag or H2 tag. Now how do you do that? Well, if you highlight the headline and you click on this here, click on heading 1. Then you'll notice it says H1. So we've created an H1 tag. Click on save. Now, one thing I want to show you, if we click on source, don't be shocked and don't be scared yet, because you don't really have to know anything about how to program HTML. All you really need to know is that when the HTML file is created by Word, whether you use Word, whether you use Mobi Creator, it's going to add a bunch of fluff to it. So we do need to clean up the code and remove some tags. So for example, this inline stuff you really don't need. And what I mean by tags, tags are noted by, a less than and greater sign. And another thing are span tags. You don't need span tags. So, for example, you're going to see a lot of span tags where it starts out with span, style, font size, 14 font, and it goes all the way and ends in this tag here. What we can do is we can remove that. And let me show you. If we remove this, when we go back to the normal preview, you'll notice that the text changes, right? Because this text here, this text here is basically, clean. This text here is not. So what you will need to do is you'll need to go through and basically remove those span tags. Now you're thinking, oh my word, this is going to be a really difficult task. But here's a fast trick. What you can do is this. You'll notice the pattern of P class, blah blah blah, all that stuff. So if I highlight the span text, right, and I copy it, and I go up here, click on edit, find replace, what I can do is click on find text and paste that here. So it's not going to work. I guess it's a different line, so I'm going to have to do this. Yeah. Click on edit, click find replace, put that in there, and then just keep that blank. If I keep that blank, then I remove the second line, which is this, as you can see here. Click on edit, find and replace, do the same thing, keep that empty, replace all. So as you can see here, I pretty much removed all of the text, I cleaned it out pretty much by just taking one line and then editing, find and replace, putting the code in here and replacing with nothingness. And then as you can see, we have clean code. There you go. Now, just a few other things. Font sizes, heading, okay. Page breaks. So remember, Amazon Kindle will just automatically put page breaks into your document. This document, I don't have a table of contents, but you'll just need to put this tag in front of the table of contents. And I don't have images, but if you do have images, it would be wise to use the Mobi Pocket Creator. So for simplicity, I'm just going to keep it at that. And another thing if you want to do is if you click on Tools, click on Markup Cleaner, click on Cleanup. I did that earlier and I got 7, and then it cleaned that out. So that also helps you clean the document here. So once that's done, we're pretty much done. We can close that out. Now, if you're thinking to yourself, I am still kind of confused, you can always go back to Amazon's, if you type in Amazon DTP or forums.digitaltextplatform.com, you'll be able to find, more information about Amazon. The formats that they accept, are the following. HTML. They also accept HTML that's exported from Microsoft Word, for example. You don't really have to go through the process I did unless you add images or things like that. But it also uses the Mobi Pocket Creator, Word format, EPUB format, PDF format, and things like that. So if you're ever confused, about other formats that you can use, you can always come back to this here. And you can also see sample formatting and get some samples and examples of that too if you want more examples.